Good evening, Vartika ma'am.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. Are there people?
Yes, ma'am, they are joining.
Has Mr. Agarwal come? Hello? I can't hear you.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir.
Evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening to you all.
So thank you for joining today. We are really excited.
No, the pleasure is all mine. Rare opportunity after a long time to be interacting with all the students. It's been some time now, I think.
I wish we could have you here in our college. In a more
Maybe sometime.
environment.
Yeah, COVID is playing a lot of spoil sport these days. So the
Yes.
activity in large virtual. But definitely, I would love to be there sometime. I come to Delhi
Yes.
quite often. Before
that's
COVID, yeah. So, but maybe sometime. Let's see how it works out. But definitely sometime.
Sure, sir. We'd really love it if you can address the students, and they would also be more motivated. I mean, this is also a motivation, but to see you in person, to get motivation from you in person would be really nice.
So if I don't bore all of you too much today, then maybe we can plan another one in person.
That's not going to happen. That if you bore us, I'm sure it'll be a lot of inspiration because students have been looking forward to having you.
Likewise.
Thank you, sir.
So Neha, how do we go about it? How do we move forward?
Sir, I think we should start in 1 minute, and the host for today's event is Vishrava. He will take forward.
Perfect.
Hello, sir.
Hi. Vishrava. Wow, that's
Yes,
a
sir.
new name. What does it mean, Vishrava?
Actually, sir, Vishrava was a saint. He was actually father of Ravan.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's nice. It's a new name. Good name. Good.
Thank you,
So
sir.
you are as learned as him, right?
So trying to become like him.
Great. Wonderful. No, you will become. The first step to becoming one is to aspire.
Neha and Vartika ma'am, if we are all set, then we can begin this
I think we
session.
can start. Yeah, we can start.
Okay. So, patience in mind and dynamism in action is the right formula for success. A very good evening to everyone present here. I, Vishrawa Tiwari, would like to welcome you all in today's speaker session on the topic Dynamism of a Civil Services Officer. Let's begin the session. Firstly, I would like to request our convener of Exordium, Dr. Vartika ma'am, to to address our audience with her kind words.
Thank you so much, Ishra. Good evening to everybody, to Mr. Agarwal and my dear students. Thank you so much for joining us. This is actually, in this academic session, this is our first event, and I welcome you all, and I hope to see you more and more during the academic session, throughout the academic session. This is with me. We also have Dr. Rajendra. I'm Dr. Vartika Mathur. I'm associate professor in actually Department of Zoology. It's not really connected to civil services, but I learned a lot from here, and I love to interact with all these students who are so motivated while studying. So that's the reason I've taken up the convenership of this Exordium. And with me, I have Dr. Rajendra Pratyal, whom we are going to meet very soon during this session. He is also a member of our committee, and he has been instrumental in hosting all these events together with me. So, sirs, for your information, Exordium is actually the Civil Services Cell of Sri Venkateswara College. This is really a student-driven initiative consisting of more than 500 aspirants dedicated to clearing the civil services exams, along with a team of 50 plus volunteers working hard to provide promising opportunities to the members of the cell. We founded this Exordium. It was actually it was run by our students from March till December, and our principal had given them some kind of a challenge that if you'll be able to do this, then we will actually have a teacher guiding you. So it was founded by the students, and the cell aims to encourage complete holistic learning among its members by providing them with much needed exposure to this world of aspirations. And when it was successfully done from March to December, we saw that the students were so motivated, they were able to help the other students to study together, to put everything, to put all the knowledge together, and to share all the experiences that they are having with each other. Then finally in December, we became formally Exordium, one of the committees that we have in our college, and that's when I took over as convener. So our cell actually, sir, it was graced by the presence of Dr. Sanjeev Chopra, former director of Labasna, at our inaugural ceremony in January. And so far we've had successfully conducted a lot of events for motivating our students, like Dr. Subhashish Pandey, former deputy director of AIMS, and IPS, Dr. Arpit Jain, Mr. Arpit Jain, and 2 editions of Inspirations. It is a live series with our civil servants and motivational speakers. So apart from that, we have successfully curated a personality development initiative where the study group, which is where through study groups for students, they have interacted with each other, and they share their study material and conduct various competitions to boost their knowledge as well as their confidence. This we do essentially so that the students who are unable to join like coaching classes, this is some kind of we provide some kind of a forum where they find an alternative to the coaching classes that have become so prevalent for clearing this civil services exam. So to help students who may not have access to these resources, our cell also has a well-organized and maintained book bank, where the book bank team has gathered a lot of sources for the young aspirants. So students, you must make use of these book banks and these resources. And besides these striking features of our cell, we also have newspaper circulation every day. From time to time, we organize virtual speaker sessions like we have today, and with various bureaucrats to keep our aspirants enlightened and motivated. So, sir, I start my series of these lectures, these talks with a big bang through you. So I welcome you very much, sir, and I welcome my students. Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your enlightening words. Moving forward, now I would like to invite Neha Gupta, President of Exordium, to introduce our speaker for the day, Mr. Rajat Agarwal, sir.
Thank you, Vishrava. So good evening to everyone present here. Now I would like to take this session forward by giving an introduction of our guest speaker for the day. Mr. Rajat Agarwal is currently serving as the CEO of Invest Punjab, that is the Punjab Bureau of Investment Promotion. It's interesting to note that Sir is also an alumni of Delhi University with a degree in commerce and a qualified chartered accountant. After working as a CA, Sir entered the government sector and was elected in the Indian Police Services in 2002. Later on, he got selected in Indian Administrative Services in 2003 and was allocated the Punjab cadre. He has held several positions at the subdivision and district level, like Deputy Commissioner of Amritsar and Ludhiana, giving him a wide exposure in the areas of administration, elections, law and order, etc. In his policy-making role, he has served at various positions, like Chairman of Punjab Pollution Control Board, Chief Executive Officer, Excise Commissioner, and so on. So it's not possible for me to give a introduction of your whole journey in just 2 or 3 minutes. So I'll just make it a very comprised version of that. And I hope, sir, that you will provide much more knowledge than I was able to give. So I would like to welcome you all, as well as I would like to extend a welcome to our guest speaker. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Neha, for the brief introduction of our guest. We feel extremely honored to have you here with us, sir. Sir, if we have your assent, we would like to proceed with the conversation.
Yeah, thank you,
Thanks a
Dr.
lot,
Vartik. Thank you, Neha. Thank you, Vishwa. I think we can proceed.
Thanks a lot, sir. So beginning with the first question. Firstly, sir, as our topic for today suggests, we would like to know, according to you, what qualities do you think make a person so dynamic that they can adapt to any field with so ease?
Okay, see, to my mind, learning is a lifelong process, and it is not only about civil services, but in any field, whatever one does have to adapt to different situations and to different needs which keep on emerging. Civil service is a little more dynamic because the nature of responsibilities that you hold and for the time period that you hold, they keep changing very fast. So I think one, if a person is inquisitive, I think that's very important to learn new things. One should be willing to learn new things. So willingness to learn is probably the second quality I would place. Hard work is very, very important because I don't think there is any substitute for hard work and experience. So hard work, I would say, is again very, very important because it's a new field. And if you have to learn new things, you need to work hard. So you may be inquisitive. You may have willingness to learn, but if you're not ready to put in the hard work and your sweat along with, then I don't think it is going to be any use. Last but not the least, I would say a positive approach is very, very important. So if one decides, okay, nothing can be done and the system is such and you can't do anything, then of course you can't do anything. And not only in civil services, but in any field. So I would rate it in that order. Probably inquisitiveness is one, willingness to learn from everybody. That's very important because sometimes we feel that only people at very high pedestal or very senior are the only ones whom we can learn from, but that's not the case. Actually, you learn from each and every person around you. Putting in hard work, unequivocal hard work. I don't think you can compromise with that. And fourth, I would say that your positive attitude and positive approach is something that takes you forward in whatever you do.
Very well said, sir. I hope our audience is making note of these things, because these are quite important things we are learning from you in today's session. Uh, my second question will be, sir, like you have taken commerce for higher education. And so I just want to know how did having commerce benefited in UPSC? And how would you like to guide our students from commerce stream, basically from commerce stream, for the preparation of civil services?
Mhm. See, I took commerce. My choice was pretty natural because I did my graduation in commerce, and more so, I did my chartered accountancy course. So for me, the choice was very natural because I had studied commerce for a long time. And also for the fact that, let me tell you very frankly, when I had to make that choice, I did not want to let go of my knowledge of income tax and corporate laws, not to do that for a couple of years when I was preparing. So I thought that eventually, if I don't clear the exams and I have to come back to my commercial field, then I can't start over all over again, because Income Tax Act gets amended every year, and there are amendments to many other laws on a continuous basis. So I thought, let me keep a subject which I have knowledge of, which is my background, of course, and also because I wanted to keep in touch with all the laws. So for me, the choice to take commerce was natural. Now, what guidance can I give to the people and aspirants from commerce side? Uh, One, I think, one thing we have to accept, that the syllabus for commerce is very voluminous. So one has to study all the subject that one does in graduation or by and large in CA course, and but yet it comprises only one paper. So the second paper is industrial relations, is something more that one has to study. So it is voluminous, no doubt about it. So one should be ready to put in that effort of going through a slightly voluminous syllabus. But the quality of questions is not very difficult. I feel, having done CA also and probably otherwise also become honors, the nature of questions is not very in depth, and so you can manage with a little less revision towards the end of the course. So I think there are some good points and some bad points. Uh, Volume of syllabus is a little difficult task. I won't say bad, but a little difficult, little challenging. But the part that it is not a very, very difficult, tough paper and tough questions per se is something which is a good part. More importantly, what happens is that, yes, returns are very, very important because mains are the bedrock of your selection. But it also helps in your interview. So if you are in touch with the subjects that you have already studied, so your interview will definitely have a sizable question from your background. So having taken commerce, it also helped me because I was in regular touch with that. So for the students who are aspiring to take commerce or think of taking commerce, it's a good subject. I won't discourage you from doing that. If you have interest in commerce, if you willingly took commerce and it was not your parents' choice to take commerce, and you enjoyed the journey being in commerce for 2 years, do take it. It's a good subject as such. And keep reading Economic Times or any pink newspaper of Business Standard or Economic Times. And I think that gives you real good thing. So I think students who are willing to take commerce only have to deal with the volume, and rest is sorted.
Thanks a lot, sir. Sir, moving forward, I would like to ask, what made you opt UPSC after having done CA?
Yeah, so that's a difficult one. That's a tricky one. I was never inclined towards UPSC. I would be very frank. So I would be brutally frank with all of you. So I was not somebody who had a childhood dream of coming to UPSC. I had a childhood dream to become a chartered accountant. And that is what I did when I eventually came to Delhi and started my graduation and CA course simultaneously. But once I was a chartered accountant and I joined a job also, I joined Nestle India and I worked in Connaught Place for a while. That's their headquarters, and that was a beautiful organization, and one would really enjoy working there. But by that time, I had started feeling that You know, I'm one person who can't sit in front of a computer and do numbers, though I love numbers. But to be doing that for 30-40 years of my life, I thought, no, that's not for me. Whether you would like to put it that I get bored very fast, or you would like to put that, that was not me who doing Excel all the time. Excel was the in thing then. And I loved figures. I still love figures, but not to that extent that the entire day I would be doing that. I wanted a little more action in my working. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to explore more. So then I thought that the maximum diversity that any job gives, of course, all the jobs, all the occupations are important, was either business or civil services. And if I were to weigh both of them, I think civil services was definitely something which was giving more diversity of working. So then I thought, okay, let me take the plunge, and I should prepare for UPSC. And within UPSC also, many services, IRS was again a natural choice or natural, base for me. But I thought the maximum diversity is in the AS. So then I thought, okay, let me try for that. And that was how I decided. Though I would also mention that many of my relatives were after my life that I should opt for UPSC when I was doing CA. But my father is a very practical man, and he's a very wise man. So he told me कि दो नाव में पैर नहीं रखना है. So you complete your one professional degree, and then if you do it in time and still you want to do something else, then you can think over it. So again, matlab, whatever anybody said, I said ki fine. I dedicated myself to CA first, completed that, went for a job, and then when I was totally sure that no, I need more diversity in my working and my career, then I opted for civil services.
Okay, sir. Sir, इसी क्वेश्चन से मतलब ये जब आप आंसर दे रहे थे तभी मेरे दिमाग में क्वेश्चन स्ट्रक करा. बहुत सारे लोग शायद ऐसे ही होते हैं जो स्टार्टिंग से डिसाइड नहीं करते हैं फॉर यूपीएससी. सो सर, अकॉर्डिंग टू यू, if one has to prepare for UPSC, तो एटलीस्ट उसे कितना टाइम देना चाहिए टू prepare for it solely, like minimum amount of time?
देखो, I would say there is no fixed formula. First of all, there is no fixed formula. But if one has to actually choose कि मैंने civil services करना है और मैंने प्लानिंग करनी है सिविल सर्विसेज में करने की, तो आई थिंक 3 साल से कम तो सोच के नहीं तैयारी चालू करनी चाहिए. इफ somebody is thinking मैं 1 साल तैयारी करके, one thing is very important. Many of my friends, they said कि यार करके देखना है. There is nothing called करके देखना है. एक बार ट्राई तो जरूर करना है. There is nothing called ट्राई तो जरूर करना है. यार या तो काम करो दिल से या मत करो. तो मैं तो हमेशा कहता हूँ when I go to schools also कि अगर आप किसी चीज को बहुत दिल से चाहो तो सारी कायनात उसको आपसे मिलाने के लिए वर्क करती है. दिस इज अ डायलॉग फ्रॉम शाहरुख खान. आई डोंट नो वेदर यू गाइस नो और नॉट. दिस इज अ लिटिल ओल्ड मूवी, आवर टाइम. सो मेरी नहीं सुननी तो मत सुनो, मगर शाहरुख खान की तो सुन लो कम से कम. सो इफ यू हैव टू एस्पायर, देन एस्पायर इट वेल. यार, डोंट डू अ हाफ हार्टेड थिंग. तो पहले तो मन बनाओ मैंने करना है या नहीं करना. ये ट्राई करके देखने वाला कोई कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं होता. अगर करना है, देयर इज अ एवरी गेम हैज रूल्स, तो आप उसके रूल समझ लीजिए और उसके बाद उसको खेलिए गेम को. ये ट्राई करके देखने वाला नहीं होना चाहिए. Then I would say 3 years at least one should take it into being. It's a serious business. There's a lot of responsibility. The kind of responsibility that one discharges, your decision has a bearing on the life and property and health of many people and many citizens. It is a very, very responsible job. And everybody keeps learning every day. You work with very, very senior people. You work with very seasoned politicians. You work with very seasoned diplomats. The citizens, we have such a beautiful citizenry, and you have to keep learning from them as well. So it's an important job. So you should take a plunge only when you know that the exam has been accordingly designed. So the exam is tough. It is not easy. It is not for testers. So for the rules of the game, you have to understand, you have to learn, and accordingly 3 years कम से कम आपको देने के लिए तैयार, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. हालांकि मेरे बैच में मेरे टॉपर हैं जो मिस्टर अंकुर गर्ग, he was first time and she topped UPSC. So there is no set formula. One can actually top in first attempt as well, and there are other examples as well. But ordinarily I would say कि कम से कम 3 to 4 years one should think कि मैं dedicate करूंगा और मैं अच्छे से इसकी तैयारी करके और तब इसके एग्जाम्स दूंगा. So 3 years to 4 years is what. And then perseverance, continuity. ये नहीं कि एक दिन तो मैं 22 घंटे पढ़ लिया और उसके बाद 3 दिन में नहीं पढ़ा. I think regularity of your studies, you should have a plan, and that's how you study is again very important. And कितने घंटे हर दिन पढ़ना है ये भी अपने ऊपर डिपेंड करता है, ये भी person to person डिपेंड करता है. But I think anywhere between 10 to 12 hours of study will be required. I think that's required. So much is happening around the world, and you need to know so much for UPSC exams. But I think 10 to 12 hours is enough if you are doing that well, if you are planning that well, if you are knowing what you are doing. So I think that is enough.
Very well said, sir. Aspiring is the most important thing one should follow. So moving forward, sir, during your preparation for CA and UPSC, what did you find common? What remained constant in like throughout these two journeys?
Okay, so I think what remained common was one, hard work. There was absolutely, in both the fields, there was hard work. Second, I would say regularity. So I was regular in my studies during CA. I was regular in my studies during UPSC. And the third one, I would say, and I would rate it very high, was your willingness to learn. So instead of अगर एक बर्तन या एक कटोरा भरा हुआ है और उसमें आप और पानी डालेंगे तो बह जाएगा, बाहर निकल जाएगा. अगर आप खाली हैं तभी आपको बाहर से ज्ञान मिलेगा. So अगर और इतना कुछ है सीखने के लिए, so you have to be willing to learn. You may be looking at an accounting problem from a particular point of view. That may not get you solutions. But if you are willing to learn an alternative way of solving the same thing, probably you will be able to do that. Similarly, in UPSC also, because there's a lot of analytical questions. You may know 10 points for a particular part, but the other person might know 2 which you don't know. So अगर आप सुनने को तैयार नहीं हो तो आपके 10 पॉइंट रह जाएंगे. अगर आप सुनने को तैयार हो तो आपके 12 होते हैं पॉइंट्स. चाहे अगले को 2 ही पता है, लेकिन अगर वो 2 आपसे मैच नहीं कर रहे तो there is a possibility that you are enriched after that interaction. So one should be willing to learn, one should have a positive approach, one should be regular in studies, and one should be ready to do some hard work. So I think these were the common parts.
Thanks a lot, sir. ये सक्सेस मंत्र हर जगह वैसे भी नहीं मिलते हैं. Like we are very blessed to have you today. सर, एक क्वेश्चन बहुत कॉमन रहता है जो मेरे कॉमर्स के फ्रेंड्स भी बहुत बार मुझसे पूछते हैं, मतलब ये भी ट्राई करने के लिए कि कौन सा सब्जेक्ट एज एन ऑप्शनल उन्हें फेवर करना चाहिए, मतलब उन्हें जाना चाहिए. आइदर कोई दूसरा सब्जेक्ट लेना चाहिए, कुछ किसी दूसरे पे जाना चाहिए, कॉमर्स में ही कोई फील्ड देखनी चाहिए उन्हें. सो व्हाट्स योर टेक ओवर दिस?
देखिए, I think this is a very, very individualistic choice. One has to decide for oneself. एक ही इसका probably मंत्रा होगा और वो होगा कि आप जो भी सब्जेक्ट ले रहे हो आपको उसमें इंटरेस्ट होना चाहिए. Because you have to do extensive studies, you have analytical questions, you have subjective questions, you have objective questions. So you have to understand what that subject is, and you have to understand the applicability of that subject to your common normal life. Because that is how the question is going to be linked in exams. So आप कॉमर्स लेना चाहते हैं, आप कॉमर्स लीजिए. आप साइकोलॉजी लेना चाहते हैं, आप साइकोलॉजी लीजिए. आप मैनेजमेंट लेना चाहते हैं, आप वो लीजिए. हिस्ट्री लेना चाहते हैं, हिस्ट्री लीजिए. कॉमर्स वाला मैथ्स तो नहीं ले पाएगा in all probability unless and until somebody has taken maths throughout and done it. So whatever one wants to take, one should take a subject which one is interested in studying, जिसमें आपका इंटरेस्ट जागृत होता हो. ऐसा सब्जेक्ट मेरे ख्याल से लेना चाहिए. और कोई हर्ज नहीं है कि 2-4 बेसिक बुक्स अगर आप पहले तो आइडेंटिफाई कर लीजिए कि ये 3-4 सब्जेक्ट हैं, उनका सिलेबस लेके बैठिए, उनका क्या मटेरियल अवेलेबल है मार्केट में वो लेकर बैठिए. कोचिंग अगर आप इंटरेस्टेड हैं तो कोचिंग में देखिए कि कहाँ पे कोचिंग कहाँ अवेलेबल है, क्या है. उसके हिसाब से आप कुछ शॉर्टलिस्ट कर लेंगे. एंड आफ्टर दैट I think then one can really get the basic books of those 3-4 subjects. Just flip through that and you will come to know, okay, this is what is interesting me. You can discuss with some of the people who are already into civil services. सुनिए सबकी, लेकिन करिए आप मन की, डिसीजन आपने लेना है, आपको तमाम जिंदगी डिसीजन आपने लेना है. You are going to have a lot of responsibilities. You may have views all around. There may be good views, there may be bad views, there may be difficult views, there may be views which you don't ascribe to. Finally, you will have to take a decision throughout your life. So why not take for a decision for your own subject? So I would say, rather than going with some limited subjects, have a choice, understand what you, because for example, for me, I was more happy studying geography. I realized I never realized that I like geography. But when I was reading for my civil services and GS paper, then I realized of all the humanities subject, I think I like geography more. So sometimes when you go through some subjects, you realize, okay, this is something which really matches my taste. And so that is where the, I think, solution lies. What one is interested in. You can't go through the basic books of all of them. Shortlist some subjects, go through a basic books of 3 or 4 of them, and then make up your mind. I would like to put it that way.
Thanks a lot, sir. Willingness to subject के लिए होनी जरूरी है बहुत. That's the only thing. Sir, next question थोड़ा इससे related है कि sir, like IAS, you have done IAS, and now you are currently CEO at Invest Punjab. So, sir, initial years of IAS, in what terms helped you for your current profession of CEO?
Okay, so initially the first posting of any officer in the IAS is of SDM or SDO. So as then you become ADM, and then you become the district magistrate or the deputy commissioner, as you call it. Now, all these jobs, one is are very cutting edge. So you are actually looking at the real problems of the people, real implementation of the policies that the government has made or makes over a period of time, real beneficiaries of a scheme. So you understand the perspective of what works in the field and what doesn't work. I may make an absolutely fantastic policy in sitting in my headquarter, and it would have a lot of bearing of the best of what the economists say, or people who really matter. But it may just be totally impractical and non-executionable. So ये चीज आपको फील्ड में रह के पता लगती है कि ये चीजें वर्क करती हैं और ये चीजें वर्क नहीं करती हैं. आपको पता लगता है कि ये चीजों की रिक्वायरमेंट है और इस पॉलिसी की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है. तो अगर मैं आज CEO इन्वेस्ट पंजाब हूं, तो मुझे पता है कि फील्ड में अगर इंडस्ट्री को दिक्कत आती है, तो ये चीजें हैं जिनके ऊपर लोगों को दिक्कत आती है. हमारे लॉस क्लियर नहीं है, इंटरप्रिटेशन सब्जेक्टिवली हमारे कई डिपार्टमेंट्स करते हैं, जिनके कारण इंडस्ट्री सफर करती है. क्लैरिटी नहीं है, ग्रे एरियाज बहुत दिए हुए हैं हमने, अतः डिस्क्रिशन दिया हुआ है हमने. सो when you have a lot of discretion, then I can choose what interpretation I will make for a particular person or not. So you get to learn the grassroots, you get to learn the problem, you get to also learn the perspective of the beneficiary or the citizen or your stakeholder. You get to know कि अच्छा workers को ये problem आती है. So if I were to dilute a particular law or a particular act concerning labor, then I'll get to know कि okay, but labor will face this problem, my workforce will face this problem. I cannot be totally pro-industry, but at the same time there may be certain issues जहाँ industry को problem आ रही है. एक ही इंस्पेक्टर उसी यूनिट को बार बार इंस्पेक्ट करता है. Why? Can we have another inspector? पता ही ना लगे कि कौन सा इंस्पेक्टर कहाँ जाएगा. Can we have a randomized system? So जब आप ग्रास रूट में रहते हैं, जब आप एकदम फील्ड पे रहते हैं, तो आपको अंदाजा होता है कि कहाँ पे शू बाइट करता है, where it pinches, where the pain is. And also you get to know what are the possible solutions. And also sometimes I would say that okay, these are the pain points. But sitting on the other side of the table, you may think that, okay, if there are 3 pains to an industry A, B, and C, A is the biggest pain. But when you interact with the industry, you realize that no, boss, A is not as much a pain as C is. So you understand the perspective of the stakeholder कि बस C मुझे टैकल करना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, A तो फिर भी कोई बात नहीं है, practically A में इतनी दिक्कत नहीं है. I am not a businessman. I can never understand business or industry as well as a person who is doing it day in, day out. So I have to understand that perspective from him. I have to learn that perspective from him. And then there will be conflicting perspectives. Textile industry की कोई perspective होगा, it is labor oriented. And state of art IT industry का या ESDM industry का, electronics industry का, which is more of technical oriented, less capital intensive, उनकी कोई और तरीके की requirement होगी. तो उसके बाद competing requirements होंगी, वो मुझे policy में यहाँ पे inbuild करना है. But pain area कौन सा बड़ा है, कौन सा नहीं है, क्या चीज की demand है, क्या चीज की नहीं है, ये चीजें grassroots से पता लगती हैं. तो initial postings में जो field level पे postings हुई, I think this was my major takeaway. That okay, this is where the shoe pinches. These are the problems that come, and across policies also. तो राशन कार्ड में अगर मैं इतना बड़ा फूड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम चला रहा हूँ तो ये चीज वर्क नहीं करती. Why now we are coming to DBT? Because over a period of time we have realized that man-material management and logistics, a lot of possibilities of pilferage. Let's go to DBT. That's what the government over a period of time has realized. We are all learning from the systems and where the weaknesses of the systems are. So that I think is the crucial part. That you get to learn where the shoe pinches, what is the real demand of your stakeholder, what will work and what will not work. I can tell you, now I am working here. Fortunately, I am working with an organization where we have a beautiful team. The government of Punjab has allowed, probably we would be one of the few government who have taken IIM graduates in our organization. So in today in West Punjab, I am working with graduates from IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, ISB, best of the brains. Now, when we sit with them, that is where the crux comes. They come up with beautiful ideas, but some of them are so unworthy of implementation because they will never work in field. And that is where our role comes in. So one who has actually worked in field will understand this is workable, this is not going to work. The idea may be very good, but it will not turn into reality. It will not help anybody down in the field. And we learn from IIMs also, by the way. So it's not the only way around that I tell them, okay, this is what it is. Beautiful ideas, out of box thinking. They break the glass ceiling. We learn from them every day. So this is how, that's how every society, all sections of society have to come together. But to answer your question, I think that is the perspective you get from there. Because whatever you decide, you have almost 3 crore people in this state. You don't govern, you don't administer them by your own understanding of things. You have to understand the perspective of the people who are going to be affected by your policies. So I think that is the benefit of the field posting.
Thank you, sir. So that grassroots level thing, I think that's only where the civil services officer becomes so dynamic also to handle any field so perfectly like you are doing. So like we got to know that you were first selected as an IPS officer, but you again gave exam and got selected for IAS. So sir, what was in your mind at that time? How you kept yourself motivated enough to take this courageous step?
Okay, see, then there is something called destiny. So now I don't want to be diplomatic at all. So I had, All India services as a charm. All the services are very, very respectable. And the more I am into service now, the more I realize how the entire civil services network is so important for each other and for keeping the country, going and developing. So every service is very, very important. But as a student at that point of time, as an aspirant at that point of time, I had decided that I have to be in all India services, and I'm being very frank. And so I thought I'll get into IPS or IAS. As a student, I had absolutely zero understanding. None of my family members were into services then or have been into services whom I would have looked very, closely. So I had thought that I'll get into both these things. But I, in 2002, was selected with 84th rank. And I was not sure whether I will get into which service. It was not clear. I was to get into IRS, I was getting to IPS, what cadre I will get, what I will not get. So in any case, I decided to write the exam again. And when I sat for my mains, then came my allotment letter. So I think that was destiny. It was wanting me to try once more, and that's how I tried once more. That is a real story, whatever I want to say, and I don't want to give any lofty this thing. Absolutely fantastic services, police services. I have a lot of respect for the kind of risk they take. We see that very, very closely. I've seen officers, fantastic work, and other services also. You know, you need revenue, you need the economy going, you need defense, you need accounts, you need audit. They are the conscience keepers. And so huge respect for everybody, but I was probably, this is how it happened. I got my allotment after I sat for my mains, and then of course there was only interview which was left, and then I went for interview. But in the retrospect, I think I am more suited, probably my temperament is more suited to the IAS, because again the same thing, that I want that diversity quite a bit. That's important for me. So I think the maximum diversity of job is provided by the IAS, and I'm loving that.
Thank you, sir. Sir, you have been to so many journeys, like different journeys. So I would like to ask you, is there any incident or any any incident that happened with you, or कुछ ऐसा कुछ स्टोरी जो शायद हम सब भी जिससे मोटिवेट हो पाए, या फिर कुछ ऐसा कभी हुआ हो जो आज तक आपको कहीं ना कहीं वो चीज इंस्पायर करते हो, या आपको भी लगता हो कि हाँ ये चीज है अभी भी सोसाइटी में, या कुछ भी ऐसा सच इन इतनी सारी जर्नियों में?
देखो यार, मैं ये तो नहीं कहूंगा कि मैंने कुछ ऐसा कर दिया जो बहुत आप लोगों के लिए इंस्पायरिंग होगा, क्योंकि हर बंदा करता है हर फील्ड में, और हर बंदा विद एज 50 ऐसे इंसिडेंट्स नरेट कर सकता है जो अच्छा लगता है, जिसमें आप सीखते हो, जिसमें आपको लगता है कि देयर वाज अ सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट, एंड विद एवरीबडी इट वुड बी so I would not like to say there are a lot of incidences. This is the beauty of these services, that even a law and order situation will teach you so many things. Even a disaster control situation, आपने कहीं पे बंद बचाया, आपने कहीं पे लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का इशू हुआ, कहीं पे आग लग गई थी बहुत भयंकर, वहां पे आपने देखा, कोई आपने प्रोजेक्ट चालू किया। लुधियाना में हमने एक कॉर्पोरेट्स के साथ मिलकर एक प्रोजेक्ट चालू किया, टॉयलेट्स कंस्ट्रक्शन का, एंड वी कंस्ट्रक्टेड 22,000 टॉयलेट्स with zero rupee investment from government. So there are many projects actually which will be very good. But if one was to be inspired from incident, then I would like to quote an incident. I was Deputy Commissioner of Ludhiana, and one day there's this very cute boy studying in 8th class. He comes to me, and to meet just like that, because that's the time when we meet everybody, open type of meeting time. And then he says, Kiji, I am a ethical hacker, and my parents are not allowing me to become a hacker. Now, what do you do? It's an 8th class boy, absolutely promising, wonderful boy. And he comes to the Deputy Commissioner and says, Ki, I'm an ethical hacker, and they're not allowing me to hack. Now, what do you do? It's such a catch-22 situations. And so then rest of the story is so I found him very, very promising. We became friends, by the way. And today he's 27 years old. And let me tell you, he has got a company. He's a startup. He is one of the big names in cyber security. He's got his headquarters in New York and Mumbai. And he's meeting all the big guns of the corporate houses one-to-one, half an hour to 1 hour every 6 months. I'm very inspired by that boy. I'm very inspired by his risk-taking capacity. I'm very inspired that he could stick to his chosen field. He chose to become one. And there was a lot of potential. Only thing that we would have done was whatever motivation we could have given. By the way, he was honored on Independence Day or Republic Day. I don't remember that, by us, because there's huge potential. And I really loved that boy. And we met last week also. And now he's doing great. Now he's bad projects with the top IT companies you can think of, with the Googles and Tech Mahindra and all that. So I may not divulge any confidential information of his clients, but that inspires me. A young boy of that age can decide what he wants to do, can follow the path. He's a school. He left his school midway, but he knew what he was doing. So I think in this age, youth is the power. of the future. Youth is the power of this country. And I see immense potential. I have met people, wonderful people in our startup also here, the way the youth is performing. So I get inspired by the youth. I really love interacting with youth, and this is partially one of the reasons. I used to interact with youth a lot when I was in field, but now for the last 5 years I'm in Chandigarh, so I don't get that opportunity. So when Neha reached out, I thought, okay, this is an opportunity. Let me learn and let me revitalize myself by interacting with the youth. So this is an inspiring story which I would tell every youth whom I meet, even my kids and even the people around, that follow your dream. Have a dream. एक तो ना वो आग रहनी चाहिए. One must dream. Keep that fire alive in yourself. Have that fire. Where should it go? You are youth. You have a lot of energy. Don't waste it in, in needless controversies and social media and discussions and do fashion. It's all right, yeah, but that's not all of it. You're meant for something bigger in life. Realize your potential, immense potential. So I think this is the story which I would like to tell.
That was quite inspiring, sir. Hope our audience also got inspired from that. So moving forward, as you are currently the CEO of Invest Punjab, sir, can you elaborate a little about it to our viewers?
Yeah. So see, one of the important jobs of the government is to create job opportunities. And for that, we will definitely have to go for industrialization, a responsible industrialization in the state. And the industry, when they want to start a venture or when they are working, they face a lot of problems. So the cliche of ease of doing business is something that we are trying to provide through this office. This is an office which helps the industries to set up their ventures and to run their ventures in a hassle-free manner. So instead of the investors going to different department, this is one-stop shop where all the different departments representatives are there in our office, and all the entire processes are online. We grant digital approvals to all the corporates and all the investors. So essentially, this is a one-stop office to help the industries and investors get regulatory clearances in a faster manner, in a seamless manner, in a totally transparent manner, without even an iota of corruption or delay. So this is our goal, and that is what we are trying to provide through this Office of Invest Punjab.
Very well said, sir. Sir, before we finish, so would you like to say a few motivating words for our aspirants, UPSC aspirants?
Okay, few motivating words. See, I will repeat what I've said. First of all, dream big. Okay, there is no business of dreaming small. This is a country of immense potential. Youth is actually the true potential of this country. Dream big, but start small. Don't figure out big plans at first. Break your dream into actionable plans, which are supposed to be small, and regularly work on those plans to make it a reality. Humility is a big virtue. Never let go of your humility. I've never seen a person who has risen high in life to real powers and is not humble, is not humane. I think these qualities are, a prerequisite to be rising higher and higher. And the more I meet people at higher pedestals, the more I realize the importance of humility. So humility is a virtue that you should never let go. And have the capacity to listen to everybody, to learn from everybody, but take your own decisions. Be decisive. Don't be floating around like a virus in the atmosphere or like a bacteria in the atmosphere. Be a living organism who decides for himself or herself. And respect your parents, respect your seniors, respect your teachers. I think that is something very, very important. A huge wisdom lies in, and when we all grow up as we grow up. By the way, every year I tell you with all honesty at my disposal. Every year I feel that 1 year ago, I was so ignorant. I was so immature. And next year again, I think, yeah, 1 year ago, I was so ignorant. So I am learning in the process every year. I seem to be learning so much. And next year, I seem to be again feeling that I am not learning. So your parents, your senior citizens in the society, your teachers, they can provide you अर्क आपको वहां से मिलेगा. जो चीज आप खुद करके कई सालों बाद गलतियां करके आपको मिलेंगी, वो चीजें आपको क्लियरली वहां से मिल जाएंगी. उसका रिस्पेक्ट करो. ये चीज हमेशा मुयस्सर नहीं होती और कईयों को मुयस्सर नहीं होती. अगर आपको मिल रही है तो उसका मोल डालो, उसको ऐसे मत जाया होने दो, उसको ऐसे मत खराब करो. So that is something which I would rather request everybody, and interact a lot. Interact with each other. Don't unnecessarily, don't spend time, masti bhi karo. That is important. Keep your spirits high, have a positive attitude. Friend circle hona chahiye, but make meaningful debates. ठीक है, 10 टॉपिक अगर डिस्कस कर रहे हो तो 2 एक अच्छे भी टॉपिक डिस्कस करो. Read a newspaper, be a aware citizen, be a responsible citizen, and be the change you want to see. You can't criticize the government, you can't criticize everybody and not participate. So Gandhiji ne kaha hai, I hope you know where it is coming from. Be the change you want to see in the world. So criticize, you must make constructive criticism, but at the same time, when it is your absolutely right, you have rights, we have fundamental rights. Chapter 3 of the Constitution, but also read Chapter 4. Fundamental duties को भी और जो है वो भी ध्यान रखना चाहिए हमें. So rights and duties go together. If we are not doing our duties, the rights are going to be diluted. If we are also conscientious of our duties, then we have a right to enjoy our right. So that is what I would say. I don't know whether it motivates somebody or it is too much of a sermonization, but and you're welcome. Anybody of you, you're welcome in a groups of 5, 10, whatever. Come to Chandigarh, we'll host you and we'll see you around. If anybody would like to come, we can pre-plan it, and I can get you to meet to real bright person, not like me who is pretty old and is not dynamic enough actually to be addressing you all. We are very young and new bright people. But yes, because I could not let go of this captive audience today, so I was selfish enough not to say no to Neha when the opportunity came. It's been some time. But yes, dream big, figure out small plans first and then go in for implementation.
That's so sweet of you, sir. Only thing I can get this from, like, learning should never stop. Thanks a lot, sir. We are really grateful to you, sir. It was really an inspiring session for all of us who are present here or on watching it on YouTube live also. Listening to you has been an absolute motivation for all of us. Thanks a lot, sir. At last, I would like to call Athrishnu to deliver vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this event, Dynamism of a Civil Service Officer, to all the people converged here. I'd like to convey my heartiest gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Rajat Agarwal sir, for enlightening the seminar with his insightful and motivating thoughts. I would like to thank our convener, Dr. Vartika Mathur ma'am, for her constant support and inspiration, and all the audience who have chalked out time to take part in this inspiring and make it a perfect accomplishment. Finally, kudos to the entire Exordium family who have enormously worked hard to organize such commendable event. Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. And it was really a pleasure. It was really a delight for me to be here today and to looking all the happy faces and not so bored faces. So thank you very much. And I thank Dr. Vartika especially for curating such a session. And I also take this opportunity to thank Neha for allowing me to be part of this wonderful session from my side. At least I enjoyed a lot. And again, before I sign off, I would say, मेरी नहीं सुननी तो मत सुनो, लेकिन शाहरुख खान की जरूर सुन लेना. And dream big, यार. जो भी चाहोगे तो कायनात आपको उससे मिलाने के लिए, उस चीज को पाने के लिए definitely work करती है. Believe you.
Thank you so much, sir. It has been such a pleasure to have you. It was truly inspiring. My son also, he's in 11th standard. He's listening with all, he stopped studying and he started listening to you. So it was really very, very inspiring. Truly, it was very wonderful. And you actually connected to the audience. There's so many messages for you on the chat. Please, if you have time, you can also take a look at those chat sessions. And it was very nice. And we would love to come to Chandigarh to see you and your endeavors there. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
And
Welcome.
please do let us know when you come to Delhi. We would love to have you physically.
Definitely. Sometime I will definitely come and visit.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a
So
lot, sir.
I hope you have enjoyed the session, and truly, all the students have got such a good start for our academic session. I don't think anybody else could have get a good start. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Do well.
Stay
All
safe.
the best.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care, bye.
Thank you.